yeah, it's such a shock when you find out. I've had friends that found out through emails.
It's the cheater's problem, not the person that's been cheated on.
She knew I was telling her the truth, and so she ended up staying with the guy. But
I love her, and you know what? She had such class, and she did nothing wrong. She
I
trusted
know,
someone. There's
I
nothing
know.
wrong with trusting someone. So today we decided to talk about cheating and cheaters, and the ones that we know of in the news or that are allegedly cheaters, the celebrity cheaters, right, Kimbra?
Sure, right.
And then what we think about it, and should you tell your friend if you know that their spouse or boyfriend is cheating? So let's start with the celebrities that are in the news, and I feel bad for them because it's kind of embarrassing to have all your personal life put out in public. And I would like to note that it's the cheater's problem, not the person that's been cheated on. We always look to the person that's been cheated on, and of course we give them empathy and feel for them because it hurts, it's painful, but they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't make the choice to break their commitment. So it really is a reflection of the cheater. I remember when I was younger, I was dating a guy and somebody said to me, he always cheats. And my answer just was, well, that's his problem. Then he'll lose me. And
Wow.
that's really how I felt about it. He cheated. He lost me.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
One thing I want to add to this, as we're going to talk about famous people, there's one, before I forget, I want to say, why do they always want to sleep with the nanny? I mean, that's like, it's so, what's the word, cliche? Like, why don't you do it out, or the housekeeper?
If you like our videos, go ahead and click on like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Thanks.
Well, it's a perfect example of because they're there.
Right.
It's just accessibility, because famous people have a harder time cheating because, everybody knows who they are, so they can't really get away with it. So I think it's really just accessibility, that they're there.
Yeah, I know. She was there. I'm like, can't you just at least go out of the house? Oh my God.
What are some good ones that you can think of?
Well, I was number one, whom I like this person, I do, is Arnold Schwarzenegger, but that's a prime example of someone who's like, come on, at least have the respect to go out of your house,
They had a kid together.
Yeah.
And he grew up. Yeah, that was.
And that kid looks so much like Arnold, you cannot deny it.
No denying. Yeah, I don't even think he does deny it. I think he's being a father to him now.
Yeah, that's what I read.
Excuse me. Yeah, the other ones that I thought of, I took some notes, so I looked them up. Supposedly Ben Affleck cheated with the nanny. Oh,
yeah.
Did you hear that?
I read about
Allegedly?
that too. Allegedly, yeah. I read about that too. Like I said, it's very cliche. I think there's, at least 5 out of the 10 will be with the nanny.
Yeah, that's funny. And then the other one that I was thinking of was Ethan Hawke. Cheated on Uma Thurman with their nanny, and I believe he married her, and they're still married and have kids. And again, this is rumor. This is what we've read in the tabloids. And we're not trying to shame these people. We're just trying to, talk about something that's a very common thing in our culture.
Well, actually, you brought it up too. Would you want to be told? Do you want to know if your spouse or your girlfriend, boyfriend are cheating on you? Or, some people don't want to know, and they just kind of want to live in wedded bliss, with ignorance, I should say, wedded ignorance. And that's a good question,
Yeah. For me personally, you would not be my friend if you didn't tell me. So remember that.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't consider someone a friend if they knew that my spouse or boyfriend or whoever was cheating on me and they didn't tell me, because, that's making me look foolish. I may be wasting time on that person.
Right.
I just want to know the truth so that then I can make the decision. But how do you feel? What would you want?
That's happened to me a couple times, and knock on wood, for me, and I may be blissfully naive, but I don't think I've ever been cheated on. I mean, I may have, but I don't know about it. But I would like to know. However, it has come into my circle of, the friends I know that have been, I knew their boyfriend or their boyfriend actually was cheating on them or seeing someone else, or at least attempting to see someone else. And I had to think about it really hard, because a lot of times, especially I find with women, they don't, I mean, they always stick up for the boyfriend, I hate to say. I mean, that happens a lot, I feel.
Yeah.
And I think that happens like even with police, you know, when they have the domestic disputes, both do this, but the girl especially lots of times ends up back in the relationships. And when you tell your friend about this situation, just be careful to know that they may disregard what you say. They may think you're lying, you know. So I had to think about it with a friend of mine, and luckily she didn't get mad at me because she knew I was telling her the truth. And so she ended up staying with the guy, but whatever. That's their choice.
Yeah, I would tell. Even if I thought I would lose the friendship, I would tell, because it just doesn't feel right not to. Knowing, having that kind of information, I would tell. I would. Yeah,
it's kind of, you know, you tell them in a real, what's the word, you know, diplomatic, delicate way. That's it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, always, you don't want to hurt them, but they're all, you know, it's going to hurt. But I feel like, I just don't feel like that's being a good friend for me. Even if I know they'd get mad at me or whatever, I just don't feel like that's being a good friend. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, you know, some people don't want that kind of friend. But I would tell. I would have to tell. And I would definitely want someone to tell me so that I could, especially, you know.
And I would want to know. That's true, because then the relationship that you thought you had is really not the relationship that you have if you don't know that information.
Yeah.
So, but getting back to the celebrities who've cheated allegedly, it's like, if I was the wife or the girlfriend in that situation, I'm going to hire the most unattractive nanny that I can find.
Well, some of them are.
I know. That's true. That's true.
Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. He had that relationship, and look at, I mean, he had this beautiful wife and this older, I think the lady was older. So sometimes I don't know if that is really.
That's true. That's true. I made the assumption that they just want somebody attractive, but you're absolutely right. Sometimes it doesn't matter. It's just that they're there, and it's very convenient.
Really it. Yeah, I do think that's it.
Just place yourself in the house.
When we started talking about this and decided we were going to talk about it on the podcast, I started, you know, Googling celebrities who have cheated. Sure. And one of them that I found, I remember hearing about it. Mario Lopez had cheated on Allie Landry. She was a beauty queen. Sure. Like right before their wedding at the bachelor party. I've always thought when guys have the need to have like a wild bachelor party or a strippers or whatever at their bachelor party, you're probably not ready to get married if that's really what you feel you need to do to sow your wild oats one more time. Mm-hmm. But I read about, and I always thought, oh, you know, how awful of him to do that. And he probably wasn't ready to get married. And then I recently read he did a memoir, and he explained that that was really the case. He felt that she had changed, and maybe she didn't, but in his point of view, his perspective, she had changed. She had become very driven for her career, and he felt that that wasn't the person he fell in love with and what he was looking for. And so he went ahead and married her anyway. And then when he cheated on her, he recognized that maybe I don't love this person, but the wedding's, you know, the wedding's already planned.
They feel guilty. Yeah.
And then it all came out, you know, within a couple of weeks. So they ended up breaking up. But, you know, we all make mistakes in life. I mean, things happen, and you know, cheating is a betrayal of trust, though. It really is something that you shouldn't be in the relationship. I think you should just break up with the person. And
you know, Demi Moore talked about that in her autobiography. She was saying how she went along with Ashton Kutcher doing threesomes because she thought she wanted to seem hip or something, and then it ended up going downhill after that because then he just started to cheat on her. So yeah, that's not a good thing either, I don't think. What are some other ones that some, you know, bigger scandals? Kirsten Stewart, when she cheated on Robert Pattinson, and everybody was so disappointed because they were like the couple of that. What was the Twilight?
Yeah, Twilight. And she cheated with her director for that Snow White movie.
I think it was her director. Yeah. Well, she was young, and I just don't think she was ready, you know, to get married. But and that happened with and that happened with Miley Cyrus and the Liam Hemsworth. But I don't think she cheated on him. I think she just, oh yeah, she did. She cheated on him with a girl. But I don't think she was ready yet either.
Yeah. Well, they were back and forth for so long.
Right.
From what I've read, which we all know we take this with a grain of salt.
All sources tell us.
Yes. Inquiring minds want to know. From what I read, though, the relationship had already played itself out. And I think had they just stayed really good friends, they could have been friends for life. And hopefully that's the way it ends up and they forgive each other. And because they had been through so much together and cared about each other for so long. So hopefully they find the right person, but they can, stay friends and heal their pain and move forward.
Yeah, that's amazing to me when I read about some celebrities that have been married, from a fairly young age, and they're still together, and that just amazes me, especially when they're celebrities, because they've got so much pressure, and it's a hard marriage life in a way, because one is away a lot filming and things like that. So that always amazes me anyway, like when they stay together. So I think that's great.
Yeah, one couple that I think of when you mention that is Kevin Bacon and Keira Sedgwick.
Oh yeah.
They're both famous,
right?
But they've somehow really made it work and stayed together and have a really strong marriage. You never hear anything about them.
That's true. That is very, very true. And another one that my aunt loves is Hugh Jackman. He's been with his wife for a long, long time, and every woman seems to love Hugh Jackman. So I'm sure he gets women thrown at him all the time.
Yeah. Well, anybody famous does just because they're famous.
That's true. So, that's true.
That's, and I think that's another topic of women throwing themselves at men that they know are married.
That's true too. That's true.
No, I wouldn't blame the woman. I would blame the person that has the commitment to me. So if I'm married and he cheats on me, I'm not going to blame the woman. I'm going to blame him, because I can't, blame her. But I still think that's really, you have to have really low self-esteem to go after someone who's already attached to someone else. Like, you have to consider yourself be willing to be second fiddle.
And sometimes these women really believe, I guess, that it's going to work out, where they're going to leave their wife. And so a lot of times they do, but then a lot of times they end up getting cheated on themselves, because when you start a marriage that way, that's maybe the case, right?
You know who that reminds me of?
Who?
Brad Pitt.
Oh, yeah.
Cheated on Jennifer Aniston, supposedly, allegedly, with Angelina Jolie, and then they ended up not working out either. And there were always rumors of him having that roving eye. And
that's the hard part about being an actor too. I'm not justifying it, but a lot of times when you're filming a movie and you're doing these scenes that are so intimate, and we were with that person for a month, 2 months, 3 months, just with this intense, and you're away from home in a location. It's kind of, and a lot of actors, we like to relive and really be in the moment, So it happens a lot when they go away to work on a film, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's an issue where you'd have to come along. I mean, come along with the person, or you lose that, you break that connection, and especially if they're starting to have a genuine connection on film. When there's chemistry between two actors and there's that connection, it can really mess up a marriage, mess up a relationship.
Yeah, and the other one that was kind of that also did the affair with the nanny was Gwen Stefani and her husband.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that? No. His name escapes me at the moment, but he's a rock star.
Gavin Rossdale.
That's the one. Yeah, and he unfortunately had an affair with the nanny. Allegedly had an affair with the nanny. So she was, naturally very heartbroken about that after 3 kids.
Well, now look what she has.
Yeah,
Mr. Sexy himself, Blake Shelton. And they seem like they have a really happy, good relationship.
Yeah, so. And he seems like such a nice guy too. He seems like a really nice, genuine person.
And who knows? Who really knows?
Right?
But that also, I feel like when a relationship is dissolved or, whatever, doesn't work out, you heal and you move on and you wish the other person well. There's no sense in harboring resentment unless they're, just a jerk about it and make your life miserable afterwards. But I think, if it didn't work out, I always say, then it didn't fit you. You know, you may have started out together and grown together, or you grow apart. And if you grow apart, it doesn't fit you anymore. So you know, move on rather than staying in a situation that's not right for you. Just like a job, you know, clothes that are too big or too little, you don't wear them. You just find what fits you.
Yeah. So you're saying that sometimes it's better just to move on, even if you're married. Yeah. I mean, that's a whole other.
Yeah. Couples that try to keep making something work that's not working, and they make each other miserable their whole lives, you know, stay together for whatever reason. I just think at a certain point you have to realize, okay, I wish you well, I'm just not in the place you are anymore.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes couples grow together, sometimes they grow apart, and they don't grow together. And that seems to be another factor. A lot of people stay together for financial reasons, as we were talking about earlier, you know, and then some stay together for their children. That's sort of you know, they want to keep this united front, which if you can do it, you know, God bless you, but it's kind of hard.
When kids are involved, it's a little different. You want to try it harder, but still, I don't think it's healthy for kids to watch two people grow up, you know, to grow up in a house where their parents don't like each other and are treating each other badly. That's setting a bad example too, I think. So. Definitely.
And I think kids can feel things that, you know, even though a lot of parents feel like, oh, well, we're still together, so they don't know all the tension that's going on. But I know that kids feel it, even if you're not arguing all the time, you know. So
yeah, there's a dislike of the person.
I hate that person.
There are couples like that, and it's sad for them because we live one life as far as we know, and so we want to get the most out of it. Yeah.
I mean, hopefully we live more than one life, but we don't know.
We don't know, so we have to make the best of this one. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it to stay in a bad relationship. So
yeah, I know. So there you go. We are the experts on the relationships. Hardly.
Yeah, I want to call it that. I just wanted to mention a couple more that I had done the research on that were well publicized. It was the Jesse James cheating on Sandra Bullock.
Oh yeah, I was so sad about that because I love Sandra Bullock.
I love her, and you know what? She had such class, and she did nothing wrong. She trusted someone. There's nothing wrong with trusting someone. That is not a flaw, and I think, you know, made people really loathe him. He is the failure, not her. And she picked herself up and moved on. And I hope she's very happy in her new relationship.
You hit the nail on the head about that. And most of the women we've talked about earlier, I mean, that we've mentioned earlier, that we have maybe haven't mentioned their names, but most of the women I feel have been this way, but especially Sandra Bullock, she handled it with such class. You know, I think it's always great when you don't slag the person that you were with before, because, you know, that says something bad about you anyway. To, you know, talk badly, and you know, many times you have the right because they did some awful things, but it's always better if you don't talk badly about
publicly. I mean, you do it with your friends in private, right?
Right.
You go to Costa Vega and have a margarita and talk with your friends.
If you're close to Studio City, anyway.
Or California. Then the other one I wanted to bring up was Tiger Woods and his wife, Ellen DeGeneres.
Right.
And it's just a perfect example of, she's one of, you know, just gorgeous, one of the most beautiful women. She seemed like a really nice person. It wasn't about her. It was about him. And even if, you know, let's say your wife or your husband gets real overweight and becomes very unattractive, and if you feel that they let you down because they let themselves go, then you should leave them before you cheat. Because, you know, they broke the contract, so you have every right to leave. But, you know, just staying with them and cheating on them is still not right on your part, if that's what you're doing.
Yeah. And, you know, some people, that's kind of a sensitive issue about what you just brought up about the weight and letting themselves go, because a lot of that happens a lot, you know, and I think it's really, you know, some people may stay with the person because they, quote, let themselves go, you know, but some people, they just can't, they may not be attracted to them any longer. So that's a whole different thing, you know. They do have the right to want to have sex. And if you're not attracted to the person, then that's another thing, right?
Yeah. And I think it's, you know, an individual preference.
Sure.
Some people, I've seen couples that just both let themselves go.
Yeah,
and they probably never have sex anymore, and they're just happy. They're a happy couple.
That's true.
Sex isn't with everything in life.
And
as
that's
you get
true.
older.
That's true. And, some people that I've seen more sustaining, successful marriages for people that just had a whole lot in common. And like you said, they may not have sex anymore. So, and then in some of those cases, one of the partners is having sex with somebody. And then, like you said, the other person is not aware of it and they don't really care. I've seen those marriages too, where most
I've
often
lost interest.
Yeah. So I know of a couple actually a few couples where the wife has lost interest in the man for whatever reason. And so they just kind of, let him have his girlfriend as long as he leaves me alone,
Yeah,
and
I
it
just
works
don't
for them.
think that should be, you should divorce. That's what I think. I just don't think you should stay together if you're going to fraternize outside of your marriage.
Yeah.
But,
commingle.
Yeah. So anyway, how would we sum this up, Kimbra? What do you think the moral of this one is?
The moral of the story is, do you want to know? I think the moral of the story is, yes, everybody should know if their spouse is cheating on them, and what you do with that information is your business, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, because I want to know, you want to know, and some people, and most, I always say, I know they knew. I always feel like, gosh, I always thought it's so strange to me that the person wouldn't sense it, but sometimes people don't know. Sometimes people don't know, right?
Yeah, and it might be a defense mechanism, like protecting yourself, not wanting to know, and it might just really be like, I had no clue,
right?
That the other person was cheating and hiding it,
right.
Job of hiding it. So
yeah, well, there you go. So all you cheaters out there, no, I'm kidding. Like be honest, I guess, is the bottom line, right?
Yeah, because it really breaks the other person. It does something to them to be cheated on, that kind of betrayal.
That's true.
It's either selfish on the cheater's part because they want to keep the relationship and have their cake and eat it too, or they're afraid they're going to hurt the other person. But really, the betrayal is worse than.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's
such a shock when you find out. I've had friends that found out through emails. That seems to be a common one too. They were corresponding with someone, and then you're just your text, exactly, and you're so shocked that it's just such a betrayal. And marriage is a sacred thing, no matter if it's just no matter if it's at the courthouse or in a church. It's a sacred bond that you're really committing to yourself to that other person.
Yeah.
So I say, let's try to be honest and make your decision for yourself, I guess.
So no cheating. Be honest. Be honest about it all. So.
And I'm not making light of it. It's just, it's just kind of it's an individual choice, but that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's up to the individual and what you can live with, but really life should be about truth.
That's true. Good point.
If you're not really living a truthful life, then is it a life of integrity? It's about having integrity in your own life.
And life is too short to not be with a person that you really love too. So if you're not happy with that person, that's another thing too, right?
There are other fish in the sea.
Right.
I agree. I agree.
So there you go. So we'll talk soon. And if you guys have any comments about relationships, you may say, we have different ideas and we want to hear them. Right, Kelly?
Yeah, let us know. Or if you have any experiences and what your thoughts are. Would you want to know if your spouse is cheating on you? Would you want your friends to tell you? So go ahead and let us know in the comments below.
Right. Okay. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.